Ooh. Oh yes, good morning, Don in London. It's March the 14th, 2013. Caught myself out. I was trying to adjust the brightness. It seemed a bit bright. Anyway, my videos all about recovery from addiction to either substances or behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol. My behaviour could be equally addictive, trying to be perfect, with the right people in the right places, with the right things and doing the right things. And these days my outlook's changed quite a lot. I'm not striving to be perfect, and I don't drink one day at a time. I don't drink alcohol one day at a time. So I can say with hand on heart, my name is Don and I'm an alcoholic, and I'm also an alcoholic in recovery one day at a time. And it's been some years since I had a drink. One day at a time. And the reason why I say one day at a time is because that's all I've got. And how have I learned how to be sober? Or how does it work being sober? Well, life is difficult. But the way I learned how to be sober was learning from other people, how they did it. And they learned from other people how they did it as well. So it's continuous learning. And who helped me along the way? Well, I needed to agree with doctors who said you should stop drinking. They said you should stop drinking. After all, it's not doing you any good, is it? And I would say, no, it's not doing me any good. But it does stop me feeling life and how horrible it is. And I was able to deny the benefits of not drinking for a long time. And then I found I couldn't stop. No matter what I did, there was no way out. And then a professional got me dry, a dry drunk. And then they said, why not try something which will give you continuous support on a daily basis, wherever you happen to be in the world. And I thought, oh no, no hiding place. What can that be? And it turned out to be fellowship. And the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous came into my life. The very last place I ever thought I should be, or ought to be, or could benefit from. So why did I get involved with AA? Simply to stop drinking one day at a time? No. Because I was told I ought to go. And if I could go, what would I find? Well, the simple answer is a bunch of people who don't drink on a daily basis. So the bunch of people changes every day. Not necessarily always changing, because where I live, many people go regularly. Because not only is it helpful to keep sober, I keep on learning about life, people living life sober, and improving my way of looking at the world so I can live sober. So I share here what AA is and how it helps me on a daily basis by some of the thoughts or feelings I've had this morning. I try and find out what my feelings are first, because my feelings, my emotions, will shape the way I think and the things I do today. So starting with what is AA? Number one, if you are in AA, you know I do not speak for you. Never can, never will, don't want to. Everybody has their own voice in the fellowship, and you choose where you share your experience, strength and hope. And I share experience, strength and hope here because I was asked to. And that's okay by me, but it might not be okay by you. So if you're offended by my publicity or my public face, it's not publicity actually, is I can switch off as many people as I may be able to switch on to the idea of being in recovery. Anyway, I try and tell the truth and share about how Alcoholics Anonymous can help anyone. So starting with the AA preamble, which is on this little bit of paper, which you can just about catch there. The preamble is shared at every meeting, and it's why I keep going back. And the main reason why I keep on going back is I listen to people and they can't boot me out. Anyone can be in AA, pretty much. I haven't seen anyone who shouldn't be in AA. So here we go. The AA preamble. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. So the only requirement is, do you want to stop drinking? And I didn't even have that when I started going to AA. I just thought I ought to, because everybody else around me seemed to be going as well. And it's free. It's free. AA is not allied with this or anything. It's not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So although the fellowship is not connected to anything else, and we're only going there to stay sober and help other alcoholics, we're all full of it, full of life, full of beliefs, opinions, attitudes, causes, belonging to this, that and the other, although I didn't really belong to anything by the time I got to fellowship. I was a derelict. I had nothing left to give, I thought. And I also thought I was empty. Well, on the surface I was empty and derelict, but underneath I still had all those experiences which had made me give up on myself and life. So it was a bit of a surprise when life started to come back in the company of strangers who only had one real desire for being in a fellowship, and that was to be sober and learn how to live life again. And I'm very grateful I did go, and I'm very grateful that you can keep coming back even if you make a mistake or have a relapse, or whether you're still drinking, you can still come to meetings. A desire to stop is all it takes. Anyway, March 14th, 2013, we have a new Pope today. Shouldn't really bother me either way, because I'm not a Roman Catholic, but I'm quite gratified by the appearance of this person who seems very amiable so far, but it's early days. But I have a feeling, I have a sense of something different in this person. So that's a good sign. Anyway, for me, what's happening? And what have I been thinking about this morning? Well, maybe because the Pope is new. This is what I was thinking this morning. Building a new life and building new foundations takes time. New foundations in living do require humility in action. What does humility mean to you? I can only speak for myself. Humility means courage to change, faith in action, developing self-confidence to try out new ways, and let go of that old life, letting go an old life of fear, pride and ego getting in the way, and trying to cover up all the time, and a drink helped me do that. It helped me cover up my life from me. I wasn't very good at life, was I? Not in the end. Anyway, going back to when I was a kid, Bruce Lee, Kung Fu and Enter the Dragon inspired me, and many like me, to join Kung Fu classes in my local area. The class was run by somebody who looked authentic, had the skills and demonstrated what it was like to put Kung Fu into action, and he demonstrated on some of his students. He was so good, and I was just a kid and very scrawny. I lasted one class and left knowing that it would take years to be like the teacher, and I didn't have the dedication nor the appetite for ridicule, because he was always ridiculing his students. Well, that's what he was doing in this first class, where he took about £8 off me, which I suppose is like £100 today. And that I resented, because he wouldn't give it back either. You know, there was no refund in those days. If you didn't like something, tough shit. Anyway, I realised it was going to take a long time, and I didn't have the dedication or the appetite for ridicule, which was part of his style. I was already good at other things, and the dedication required meant I would have to give up so many other activities, including drinking and smoking. Sometimes we make poor judgments in our younger years. Sometimes we just don't know what will happen and where we will end up. I was always attracted to the mystical and out-of-world fantasies, so, you know, Enter the Dragon and being able to jump out of trees at people was quite good in my book. And actually you could get quite good at doing things like that. jumping out of trees and hurtling down on somebody, I guess. But it was a bit too real, I guess, if we were actually to go do it. So I was always attracted to the mystical and out-of-this-world fantasy, so often ruined by reality, and the awfulness of reality was a good reason for a drink. The good news, if you can teach an old dog new tricks, the good news is you can teach an old dog new tricks, or in my case, a new way of life, one day at a time. So if I look back, I don't think I'd have been the next Bruce Lee, or Don Lee, but my choices were very, very poor, and giving up things I liked as well. So it took me 35 years at least to realise that I was powerless over alcohol, and a drink would lead me into unmanageable territory. I liked unmanageable, out of control. Excuse me. I liked the unmanageable life. Being out of control, less fearful with the drink inside me, more able to share emotions like love the girl I was with, let go of the girl I was with, always uncertain of to the outcomes and drifting in a superficial way, even though my feelings ran deep. My poker face, the brave face, pride and ego kept me at a distance from my own feelings, especially heartbreak. Alcohol, pride and ego would divorce me from myself and lessen the pain. Well, actually the pain was always there, suppressed and deep. And learning to live sober with the help of fellowship, a fellowship dedicated to emotional and spiritual well-being, unlocked those deep feelings and helped me face myself and then face life on life's terms. So a bit of a shock really, coming out of all those horrible things which used to get my goat. Heartbreak. I started heartbreak very young. Anyway, going on as I do. Humility to live life on life's terms, open, honest and willing. This is what recovery is all about. And we don't become open, honest and willing all day long. Sometimes I can be closed down, dishonest and unwilling because I don't like the truth of now. So I learn about how to be open to the feelings I have and being honest about them and willing to share them. I'm learning that. The old saying, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Actually, sticks and stones will break my bones, and I can heal from those. At the same time, words always hurt me, and they hurt everybody else too. We just didn't show it. Behind the words which would not hurt me were the words which hit my feelings hard, and rather than deal with the feelings, it was easier to deny them. Knowing my feelings these days, I am learning what they are, and I don't need to deny them. Feelings inform me of my emotional and spiritual condition, and always in the moment, and learning from them helps me to find the right actions. And if I don't know what the right actions are, humility helps me ask for help about what to do and really live life on life's terms today. And I guess we need to keep on learning our feelings all the time, because that's the best information we're going to have. Mood impacts always. Our emotional mood impacts on our thinking and the actions we take. And we would like it in reverse sometimes, that thinking overrules. Well, it suppresses often our emotions. I don't want to show my feelings right now, because what would they think of me? Anyway, learning the basics, learning how to love. That's quite difficult. Harder is learning how to be loved back and find useful endeavours today. And when I talk about useful endeavours, it's what you choose is right for you. So if it's doing a jigsaw puzzle or solving the biggest political problem in the world right now, it's your endeavour, a bit like Desiderata and Max Ehrmann. Whatever your endeavour is, it's useful to you. Humility has taught me that it's perfectly okay to keep on learning the basics of life, because the basics of life, they apply to existing relationships and to any new relationship we might begin, from acquaintance to friend to lover. Learning the basics, how to cherish and not be superficial or indifferent, is all in the action, and it is not about thinking. It is about the feelings we have for ourselves and other people. When we cherish people, We are not superficial or indifferent to them. My dad taught me this when he was dying. He spent a life of superficiality and indifference on the earth. If you saw him, superficial, indifferent, humorist, old rogue, philanderer, you name it. But he was indifferent toward himself and other people, and was unable to connect and cherish as much as he had wished. This is what he told me. At the end, he saw that his own pride, fear, and ego had always blocked his ability to love and be in the moment of now. It was a blockage. I am thankful for the words. The action in my heart was forgiveness for him, and his forgiveness of me in our superficial and indifferent relationship over the years, and it tore deep into me and changed my life forever. The first step in becoming a human being again, and still far from recovery and fellowship at this time. It was a while, long after his death, I was still grieving, and my way of grieving was to drink the feelings out of me, or wash them out with alcohol. Anyway, getting to recovery. In recovery, emotional and spiritual learning, understanding my feelings in the moment of now can still be quite difficult. Somebody may say to me that they love me, and it's almost unbelievable to hear such words, and before I know it, denial almost makes me brush the words to one side, and then I stop myself and realise what is being said to me. And then I realise I love them too, and it feels overwhelming. This feeling of love, so often denied, and yet so often we are heartbroken by love. It takes as long as it takes to really understand how much we do love each other. Underneath all that bravado, love is possible, and love is happening today. How am I feeling this morning? I feel good. I've been up for hours, actually. I woke up at 2:30 and I haven't been to sleep since. And it's now 7:30 in the morning, so I've been awake a good while. I feel good. I was listening to the news late last night on the radio, and we have a new Pope in the world. He sounded quite inviting and welcoming by saying, "Good evening," in Italian, "Buonasera." I knew somebody or someone doing something, and we will find out what soon enough. The timbre of the voice reassuring, at least with serenity and calmness in it. Mind you, I'm not a Catholic. At the same time, some kind of reassurance was unmistakable. See, I love wherever we get wisdom. I don't mind what religion people are. In fact, I love diversity. That's why I like fellowship with AA. Anybody can be part of it. I'm not suggesting anyone in Italy should or shouldn't, nor the Pope. I'm quite sure he's a very balanced individual. But we can get wisdom from anywhere, so I don't mind where it comes from. If it's wisdom, it's wisdom. We can learn wisdom from anyone, anywhere, anytime. And this is the gift I've learned in fellowship. I learn from individuals far younger than me, or far older than me, who have more wisdom about so many different things which I don't know about. Every one of us has wisdom to share, experience of life, and some hope on offer to someone today. We don't know half the time what is going on, and we learn on the hoof, as it were. We learn as we go along, and we just don't know it sometimes. Being able to listen to the world makes me feel good today. 30 years ago, hearing that there was a new Pope, I'd just switch off. Yet this person influences 1.2 billion people, plus all the people that they influence. So it would be foolish of me to write people off just because. So it's not a good idea. There is wisdom everywhere. We just don't hear it or see it half the time. Even when we feel like everything's being ripped away from us and we are still breathing and just about able to get back on our feet, we can start again. I'm an example. Courage to change, enough faith to do the next right thing, and knowing it is okay to start from scratch means anyone, anywhere can restart today. And when we start again, or we begin again, we are not necessarily trying to rebuild the old life. Rebuild the old foundations. Far from it. We are building a new life with new foundations, and just for today. We can put into action We can put in the action and start over anytime, anywhere. And you know, the higher power, your higher power, we're in it all the time. I'm in it all the time. And to hear a reassuring voice just say, good evening. And that's all I can remember. But it was the timbre of the voice. There was nothing sinister in it, but it was very welcoming. Now that's a good start. So, wherever the wisdom's coming today, sometimes half the time we don't see it, but we are engaged in learning more. How to get the right bus to wherever we need to go to. How not to drink that first drink in the morning like I used to in my final days of drinking. God-awful times where, you know, I had to keep on drinking till I could keep it down, to stop the shakes. Those times, fortunately, are not with me anymore, and mostly they're not with me today, where it can all happen again, and enough. So I will share the Serenity Prayer at the end, which is to God, or in good conscience, as you come to understand your higher power to be. Don't forget, it's your higher power which counts. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Moment to moment, hour, minute to minute, hour to hour, just for one day. Oh, and welcome, new Pope.